MLB season is around the corner. The On Deck crew is here and ready with more tips for best ball. In today's show, we're going to be going over late round targets. We've got 7 guys that you've got to eye in your best ball draft and maybe consider picking up because these guys have incredible value, even late in the draft. Alongside Tyler Wiemann, I'm Shannon Sommerville. We've got some great picks for you. And Tyler, I'm excited because I see 2 Yankees on this little list of 7 players we've got working. And super excited about that because, of course, the news for Yankees fans hasn't been great this week with Garrett Cole coming out that he has to undergo an MRI, some elbow injuries going on there. So that's concerning. And then Aaron Judge was wincing in pain after his at-bat. So it just hasn't been a great week for Yankees fans, so hoping you can at least, talk us off the ledge with some guys that might show up for us in 2024, at least for best ball purposes. Now, if you aren't even playing in best ball yet, hop into it. It's so much fun, and you can do that right on the Underdog Fantasy app. If you don't have Underdog Fantasy, download it. Use the promo code LineStar, and you'll get up to $100 of your first deposit match. That's plenty of dinger entries. So that's 10 of them right there. Go ahead, enter into these contests, and, winner, $100,000. That's nothing to sneeze at, Tyler. $750,000 in prizes in total, but the winner can take home $100,000. I say this week on our live best ball draft, we get after it. We put in some of these late value guys, and we roll with it, and maybe take home that $100K. What do you say, Tyler?
I am in. I would love to do that. And I've been drafting a ton of best ball. I like it. I no longer play normal season long. I just do best ball instead.
It's just so much easier. You get the drafts in, and then, my biggest criticism with season long fantasy, it's fun, but it's so hard when you're getting caught up in other things, especially in the summer. You got vacations going on. You can't be the weirdo on vacation. I guess you can. And I have been the weirdo that's on their phone, worried about making roster changes. But and I'm sure you've been there too. But it's frowned upon in most family outings, I would think. So we're gonna go best ball. That way we get it all done at the beginning. Underdog Fantasy does all of the scoring for you during the season. So you just sit back, relax, and watch your guys go out there and dominate. And hopefully we can give you guys some guys today that can help you do just that and provide value, because really the name of the game here in Underdog Fantasy's best ball is trying to get the best value during your draft and really not trying to reach for guys, letting the draft kind of come to you. But some of these guys could have incredible value late in the draft. Now, we are qualifying that as any pick higher than 180 in those best ball drafts. So we've got some guys for you. We're going to start off with some infielders for you because, as you guys have probably been experiencing if you're doing best ball drafts, is the outfielders go early. So there's going to be a lot of infielders available later, which you can kind of count on. So this is an area to pay attention to. We're going to start off with one of my New York Yankees, infielder Anthony Rizzo, who had an incredible start to the season last year, Tyler. He's currently ADP 189. He was batting .327 in May with 6 home runs in that month, but he had this awkward collision with Fernando Tatis, ended up having post-concussion syndrome, and later admitted, even though he was back and playing, he couldn't even see the ball. In fact, he had one game in July, I believe it was, where he had 5 strikeouts in the game. The Yankees finally decided, hey, something's not right here. We're pulling him. So he spent the rest of the season on the bench. Now he's back. He's fully healthy. And I took a look at some of the numbers, Tyler. Before that collision, batting .304 with 11 home runs. After the collision, just .172 with 1 home runs. A healthy Anthony Rizzo is key here. He's healthy. I love his spot here, especially in that stacked Yankees lineup. What do you think?
Yeah, I like his spot too. He's projected to hit, towards the top of the lineup. At least first right-handed pitchers. They have him, slated right now at 4th. That could change, obviously, throughout the year with injuries and whatnot, but he is projected at the top end of a very, very dangerous Yankee lineup. You add in 2022, guy had 32 home runs, 77 runs, 75 RBIs. He was producing at a very, very good level. Now you're talking about adding offensive power. So those RBIs, those run numbers, both could come well up. And look, he had a bad injury-riddled season. It's not like he's over the hill.
Mhm.
And in this lineup and hitting as early as he is,
Yeah.
there's just a ton of value here. He could easily end up being, a 25, 30 home run guy with a bunch of runs, bunch of RBIs. Uh, Zips, ATC, BAT, all those projection systems have him 20 plus home runs. He's a very good value where he's going.
And don't just take my word for it on the health factor, too. He's 9 for 20 in the Grapefruit League with 2 doubles, 2 homers, and just 1 strikeout. Earlier this month, he also had a 2-home-run game, so that's nice to see for Anthony Rizzo. Next up, let's head to the Yankees' rivals, the Red Sox, where we find Trevor Story. Finally, a healthy Trevor Story as well. His ADP currently 203.8. Just went 3 for 3, Tyler, in spring training with a double, a home run, and 3 RBI earlier today. What do you think of Trevor Story's prognosis for the 2024 season?
Yeah, I mean, he's another guy pretty much sat out all of last season. He came back, he played a little bit, so we know he was healthy enough to play. Then he had a whole offseason to keep getting stronger. In 2022, 16 home runs, 13 stolen bases in 94 games. He's a guy that clearly could be a 2020 guy now. He was a 2020 guy in 2021. And he's only 31 years old. It's not like he's really old either. A lot of these vets are going way later than he should be just because you don't expect a big jump in their production. But we can take that value and run with it. He plays for a Boston team that is dynamic and young and keeps getting better offensively in a very good hitting park. So hitting the top of that lineup is very enticing to me, especially in that park.
Yeah, and another guy this is one of his first spring trainings in a while where he's fully healthy, and it's definitely showing up in the stats. 304 this spring with a 929 OPS, so all signs pointing to a nice season for Trevor Story. Next up, let's head to the Minnesota Twins and one of their young stars, Edouard Julien. 209.2 is his ADP. He had an awesome rookie season, called up for good late May, knocked in 16 home runs, and ran a 136 WRC plus over 109 games and finished 7th in AL Rookie of the Year voting. And Tyler, I found this stat. I just got to read it to you right now. Among second basemen with at least 400 plate appearances, that 136 WRC plus ranked 3rd in baseball behind Mookie Betts, Jose Altuve, and just ahead of Luis Ariz. What do you think about this kid?
And what is so crazy to me about all of that? Versus lefties,
I
he
know.
had 0 home runs and hit 196.
Cannot hit lefties.
He did it all versus right-handed pitching. Because of that, he is expected to come into the league, or the season platooning. However, he spent all offseason retooling his swing so he could hit lefties. He hired lefty pitchers. He set up his pitching machines to come at the angle of a lefty and changed his swing to better attack left-handed pitchers. If this guy is an everyday player and those improvements, show on the field, you're talking about a guy that you can be taking with one of your last picks, 25 plus home run upside in a lineup that's featuring, Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, Carlos Correa. And it could be a very, very exciting spot where you're getting just a huge value on him.
At ADP 209, are you kidding me? I love the upside for this guy. All right,
the upside is there, but he might platoon, which if he's platooning, he's going to have weeks that are, nothing. But hey, this is best ball. We want those spike weeks, and they'll be there.
And we love guys who go into the offseason and take a look at what they maybe haven't done that well, and they go ahead and try to fix all the holes in their game, because that's exactly what this next guy did. Jeremy Pena, Houston Astros shortstop, ADP 217. Now, last season, he slashed his strikeout rate, but he lost a lot of power. This season, he's debuting a brand new stance in spring training, and this is just a quote from the Astros manager, Joe Espada. He looks comfortable in the box. He looks athletic. I think he's using the whole field, hitting the ball in the air more with power, and I really like where he's at early in camp. It's more efficient, and that's exactly what he's shown the last couple of weeks in Houston. So some upside here maybe for Pena. What do you think?
I think there's big time upside. This is a guy that is rookie of the year or
Yeah.
rookie season, 22 home runs, 11 stolen bases. Everybody was really high on him coming into last
Mm-hmm.
season. Then his ISO drops 55 points.
Mm-hmm.
So he regressed in his sophomore season. He's retooled that, made his swing more compact, more consistent, less movement. And you're talking about a guy that is going to be a key part of the Astros lineup, and he's one of your last picks. I
Right.
think it's a great way to go. He needs to be on your mind if you have any Astros players already in your lineup, just to complete those stacks. And the upside is there's an injury to one of their top hitters and he's producing well. And now he's in the top three, top
Mm-hmm.
five of this lineup. And then, the sky is really the limit.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, those are our infielders. Now let's take a look at it. We actually have an outfielder here, which are hard to come by late in the draft. But Starling Marte, who's been kind of a household name in fantasy baseball over the last decade or so, basically because of his stolen base prowess. But 198.7 is his ADP. Again, a very valuable fantasy asset, but has struggled to stay in the lineup. Played only 86 games, struggled with migraines and a groin injury last season. I think the key here is you're taking a risk on the health factor. How do you kind of play this one?
Yeah, this is totally a health factor thing. You're hoping to bounce back a little bit. I know he's getting older. He is 35, but look, his projections on, all the season long projection systems, right around 10 low teens and home runs with 30 stolen bases. He's a guy that can easily get you over 1,000 or maybe 1,100 underdog points in the outfield position this late is key.
Mm-hmm.
If you need an outfielder late, he's an interesting one. There's also some Mets infielders going late you can pair him with to get that stack if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's just a little bit of a value going late.
So if you're in your draft and maybe you've taken too many infielders early and you're kind of stuck, I mean, this is a guy you can kind of lean
Yeah.
on for outfielders if you get into that situation. All right, we've got two pitchers for you. The first one we're going to look at is Nestor Cortes, ADP 207.3. Didn't have a great 2023, dealt with some rotator cuff strain though most of the year, but he's just 2 years away from that 2.44 ERA. I don't know, Tyler. He debuted some denim cleats at spring training, and it didn't really help. He didn't have the best outing, but what do you think of his chances for a nice bounce back in 2024?
Is he really going there? He already looks
He
like
did.
Mario. Now he's going to do the joke.
The
Denim, denim,
denim,
denim.
denim, denim, denim.
That's
Yep.
hilarious. All right. So look, we got Nasty Nestor. I know he's one of your favorites, but this is a guy with a strikeout rate over 25%, a walk rate at 7.5%. He's playing for a contending team with a very, very high, win potential here. ERA at 2.9 and 2.4 in 2021 and 2022. The only worry here is how many innings he's going to pitch. He had a
Mm-hmm.
shortened season last year. He had a decent amount of innings this season before. We just need those innings to get up there, and he could absolutely crush this ADP.
Yeah, I was reading some articles, and Nestor is maybe due for a little bit of a bounce back. The Skills Interactive ERA, Sierra, it's been the most accurate indicator of next season's ERA. So last season, Nestor had an ERA 4.97 and his SI ERA 4.35. So that margin was actually the 17th widest margin for a starting pitcher. So what does that mean? It just basically indicates that he's in for a little bit of a bounce back. That should kind of regress towards the mean, right? So it should be more indicative of a bounce back. And that's one of the analytics that most people use to look at some predictive stats. So according to all of the measurements, Nestor Cortes could be due for that. So that's also something that I thought was interesting when I came upon that. Another guy we're going to look at is we're going to the Angels righty Griffin Canning. ADP 237.8, looking good so far in Cactus League action. 27-year-old has yet to allow an earned run through 5 innings of work with 4 strikeouts, 0 walks in that time. What do you think about Griffin Canning's prospects for the 2024 season with the Angels?
I think Griffin Canning's in a very good spot, especially when you're taking him your last pick.
Mm-hmm.
He had a strikeout rate of 25.9, walk rate of 6.7, expected ERA of 4.01 last season. But main thing here is he has improved every single season of his career. If he takes another step forward, you're talking about a guy with 10, 13 wins, 150K, 150 plus Ks, with your last pick. So he can be a very, very, very valuable part of your rotation at the very end of the draft, which I find extremely enticing. Now, both of these guys that we talked about pitcher wise, both of them 25 plus Ks, under 8% walk rate. The guys on that list that did that last year are
Mm-hmm.
all some of the best pitchers in the league. Talking about Strider, Gosman, Peralta, Pablo Lopez, Jesus Luzardo, Luis Castillo, Zach Wheeler, Eflin, Zach Gallen, Kikuchi, Nola, Keller, Bradish, Cortes, Canning.
Yeah.
So they are on a list which, they could be much, much higher draft picks next year.
In good company, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Some awesome prospects for you there, and some great value there late in the draft. So if you guys are in best ball, make sure to keep an eye on these guys. I mean, we're not saying to go reach for them early or anything like that, but they could be a good spot to go to when you're later in your draft. It also, of course, Tyler, depends on what your stack situation is looking at. Stacking is important as well. And by the way, if you haven't checked out our first video where we talked about some different strategies to help you in best ball, stacking is one of those. We talked about it in our first video. I will link that here. If you're new to best ball, we also have a video on what exactly best ball is. I'll include that as well. And if you don't have Underdog Fantasy yet, download it. Use the promo code LineStar for up to $100 of your first deposit match. Not only do they have best ball, but they also have Pick'em as well. And every day here on the LineStar YouTube channel, we've got our best picks there for Underdog Fantasy. So make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the LineStar YouTube channel. Give us a follow there. Like this video if you're enjoying our content. If you have any questions, drop those in the comments as well. Or if you disagree with our analysis, or maybe have another sleeper for us to look out for in the best ball drafts, drop it in the comments. We want to hear from you guys. Good luck out there in all of your best ball drafting. We'll see you guys later this week with a live best ball draft. Come draft with us. We'll have so much fun. Good luck, guys. We'll see you next time.
Good luck, guys. Have a good one.